Hello everyone, today I'm sitting in my 2017 Infiniti Q50 with a 3.0 turbo motor. So this should apply to the Q60 as well. And today I'm going to show you how to burp the coolant system, the entire coolant system in your Infiniti Q50 with the 3.0 turbo motor, or Q60. All right, ladies and gentlemen, this is how you do it. Say that you replaced everything, like in terms of everything. You replaced all the coolant lines, you had to touch the intercoolers, the water air intercoolers, replace the radiators. One thing for sure, you're gonna pour coolant, first of all, in each one of these radiator caps, okay? And when you're gonna be starting her, you're gonna take all the radiator caps off to let out all air, okay? And also, what you may wanna do is pour coolant into here before starting, into here, into that tube, into this tube, into this tube, and this tube. And that will basically help fill up any empty space. What's gonna happen is when you're gonna be filling up into this tube, it's gonna back trace this way and you'll see it come out of the metal tube. That's exactly how you burp the system on this. What you may wanna do is let it run, make sure everything works, make sure it doesn't overheat on the temperature gauge, and then let the car cool off a little bit and take off the radiator caps if you put them back on, and do the same thing again until you don't need to top off no more coolant. Once you're done, I think they're all supposed to be like that. In my opinion, so if I'm wrong about it, hit me in the comments. In my opinion, as you can see, this is full of coolant. When you pinch it, it's full of coolant. But when you come here, there's less coolant. But I can feel some pressure. In my opinion, some lines are not going to be fully pressurized because they're not supposed to be like that. But the little lines, you can definitely not squish. They're not pressurized. I mean, it's super pressurized. But down here, you can squeeze some, but I'm pretty sure there's coolant running in them, just not under as much pressure. Because I think this kind of circulates over, and it's like a return line, in my opinion. So if I'm wrong, hit me in the comments. But personally, I think this is normal. This is a burp system. You should be able to squish. Again, if I'm wrong, hit me in the comments. But I think this is just fine, because not only did I run this car for a while, I also did a test drive, and everything was fine, nothing overheated. Good news is Infiniti has a coolant temperature gauge. This is right here what is supposed to be your optimal operating temperature, and don't let it go over this by the hot. Turn it off right away and figure out why it's doing it. If it's getting hot and your thermostat is all good, most likely you have an air pocket and you're gonna have to release that air. One other trick that you may try to burp the air system, but you can only do it briefly, is remove one of the coolant lines and don't have it connected and let it come out. It's gonna be a little messy, but I think that's how you're gonna be able to do that. Now, whatever you do, do not put the bumper back or the bumper cover on back on your car. You want to burp and bleed your coolant system before you put the bumper on. Also, down over here is your intercooler coolant water pump. Basically, what you can do is put your ear right next to this pump, and if you hear the pump working and coolant running through, it means everything is working properly. Now, if you put your ear by that intercooler water pump and you only hear the water pump working, or if you turned on the car and you don't hear it working, then you're burning your water pump. Basically, that's supposed to be connected, but if you only hear the pump working, you don't feel no vibrations, and I can feel slight vibrations, very quiet. If you don't feel anything at all, and when you put your ear next to it, you're gonna hear like this water sloshing around, which means it actually works. If it's not working, you're gonna burn it, and eventually it's not gonna work at all, and you're gonna have to replace it. So keep in mind, make sure you bleed and add the coolant where I told you to add it in order for it not to work, because these water pumps are not self-priming, and based on what I heard on forums, they will not self-prime. Okay, forget what I said about all the other steps. This is the proper way. Go buy yourself an $80 basically a Maddox coolant system test and refill kit from Harbor Freight Tools, and you're gonna want to get all the vacuum out. You gotta wait until it hits 25 psi, whatever it is, and then you're gonna fill it up with coolant. later on. That's just how you properly bleed the air system. You're gonna have to connect it to an air compressor, and when you do that, you're gonna flip the switch. I recommend putting something here when you bleed it, because I mean, it gets a little wet and stuff of the air coming out of coolant a little bit. And then all you gotta do is close this off, and you'll see if it holds air or coolant, the pressure test. And then after that, you can fill it up and top it off with coolant. Get yourself one of these, and your life will be a whole lot better when you bleed and burp the system in Infiniti Q50. But from what I talked to you about Z1, the way the coolant lines are, they're supposed to be like that. When I pinched them, I felt coolant running through. So I think I am Gucci on that part. If you're still unsure, take it to an Infiniti dealership or a mechanic that knows how to burp these systems correctly. And you may need to top off your coolant reservoirs after you do that, after it kind of circulates all through. But what I heard from Z1 is that you have to drive the car around some more, quite a bit, in order to see how everything works. Not canceled. Guys, I'm Eddie B. 2004 turn right. This particular package, drive an attempt on the 6 Series.